You are most likely here because of one of two reasons. You either are feeling your sexual experience, your sexuality is being experienced in a difficult or strained way, and you want to feel more free, more pleasure, more acceptance, even more comfort, maybe in that area. Or you're here because your sexual experience, your sexuality, your sex life is feeling unfulfilling or kind of basic, and you want it to feel more enhanced, or you want to feel it more deeply. Whichever variation of those fits for you, welcome to our sex therapy, sex coaching, and sex education page. I'm glad to have you here. Contrary to popular opinion, sex therapy, sex coaching, sexuality is not all about sex. It's often about intimacy, but we even go beyond that. It's about craving a safe, meaningful connection within that intimate experience. There's a sense of pleasure that often can be attached to sex and sexuality. However, pleasure, it's unlikely to be experienced when there's a lack of safety or a lack of meaningful connection. And so it is an important element for us to be aware of. There's a variety of factors that can affect the way in which you as an individual or you with a partner may experience your sexuality, your sense of intimacy, be it together or apart, inside the bedroom or outside the bedroom. I am Dr. Tony Warner. Most people just call me Dr. Tony. And years ago, after many years of being a therapist, I chose to go back to school and obtain my PhD in human sexuality because I knew I could feel that there was so much more affecting human relationships, human development, human perspective than the more traditional behavioral and cognitive theories or sciences implied. And so I view sexuality from a holistic lens, a lens that envelops the full human experience, of respects and appreciates the full human experience, from the physical to the emotional to the mental and the relational. And for many, there's a spiritual element there too. One model that helps to broaden our understanding of what human sexuality encompasses was created by Professor Dennis Daly. It's called the Circles of Sexuality model, and it was developed in 1981. Professor Daly identifies 5 main circles that make up different categorical elements of our sexual selves, our sexual stories, informs our sexual histories, and our overall sexual perspectives, reactions, and experiences. The 5 circles that he identifies are sensuality, intimacy, sexual identity, sexual health and reproduction, and sexualization. Now, although, his model has limitations, as do all models, of course, these help us to consider the many elements, the many factors that inform our experiences and affect our sexual lives, our sexual relationships with ourselves, with others, and the world around us. I share his model because it supports the more multifaceted way in which I approach this kind of work too. If you're looking for a very cookie cutter type of approach, then that would not be with me. I do not work with a singular model. I don't tend to do cookie cutter approaches. Instead, I view individuals, their experiences, their relationships in a much more complex and integrative fashion. This multi-factor way of viewing us as individuals and our relationships really allows the cookie cutter approach to fall to the wayside and allows us to view things more holistically. So I've chosen to study, to train, and to develop skills in several therapeutic methods, several theoretical frameworks and models, which I then take the tenets of and I integrate in a very unique fashion. I do this so that I can support, care for, and understand the clients that I work with in an individualized way that allows you as the client to receive more personalized care, more effective quality support. This multifaceted approach goes beyond talk therapy. In fact, if you are seeking to enhance intimacy and there's no history of sexual trauma or medical related diagnosis, then a briefer form of sex coaching and consulting might actually be all that's needed. Give or take 6 or less sessions might be able to support you and your goals here. However, if there is a trauma history or medically related diagnosis that comes into play, then a deeper form of support may be needed. And that would call for a therapeutic model of working together, and that would be sex therapy. Either way, whether it's coaching or therapy, we will go beyond the traditional talk support so that we can maximize the benefits of our work together. What do I mean by that? We are, of course, going to talk. It's one of the primary ways that we communicate with one another. However, there are other ways for us to work together that really deepen the experience and the care that you can receive. We go beyond just talking. As a mind and body aware therapist, I also introduce tools and resources and techniques that take us beyond the verbal, beyond the cognitive. Some examples of things we might try are body-based techniques or skills, like noticing your body sensations in a certain way, communicating them in a certain way, or moving your body in a certain way. We may integrate brain-based techniques like brain spotting, where we find a spot in your visual field that makes you and or your partner or together as a couple makes you feel a certain sensation and connects you with a particular emotion. And then together we would work with what comes up there. Maybe I will encourage you to do some trial and erroring with certain activities, either together as a couple or individual, depending on your goals of our work together. Perhaps I will offer certain writing prompts or encourage you to explore certain scents, smells, right? Or certain sounds that can help enhance your experience. These type of techniques, they go beyond just the thinking brain. They go beyond only the verbal. And they help us to call upon the various parts of your full sexual, social, and emotional system. And that allows you to become more open and aware and integrated, your full system to become more open and aware and more integrated. And a more open, aware, and integrated system can more deeply experience pleasure and intimacy with itself and with others. So if you're open to integrating methods beyond talk therapy in your sex therapy or sex coaching work, you might be surprised at what you experience. It's important, again, to note though, that sex therapy, whether it's for a couple or for an individual, if someone has experienced any kind of physical trauma or emotional trauma, but in particular, a physical trauma that was of a sexual nature, then it does take on a different form of care and focus. And therefore, sex therapy is required. Sex coaching would not be a good fit. Okay, there are many reasons for this, but the major one that I'd like to highlight simply is because of safety. Safety is such a basic need and is so integral to our sexual lives, our sexual experiences, that when someone has experienced any form of ongoing physical trauma, sexual trauma, there's often an internal lack of safety that exists within their system that we need to work with, and for good reason. We need to take great care, intention, and pay attention to the impact of the trauma as we learn to navigate and shift its role in your sexual life. So, whether you're struggling with intimacy and you want to change that, or you simply desire to enhance your sense of pleasure within your relationship with your partner or with yourself, it is possible. And I am so glad that you were here and that you found this page. If you are feeling like any part of what I've shared here today is resonating with you or has got you intrigued, you can simply reach out, ask a question, schedule a free 15-minute phone consultation, and we can see if we're a good fit for working together.